Episode 2 of SPOOKTOBER. Jack Skellington. Written by One Shot 157. I walked up the steps to Jack's house. I rang the doorbell that had a spider on it and waited. Being Jack Skellington's maid wasn't easy. He wasn't a very tidy person and was always obsessed with the newest Halloween trends. But at least I got paid. I played with my hair as I waited for Jack and kept on waiting. Finally, I heard his skeleton voice call, "It's open!" I sighed and opened the door. I walked into the spooky mansion and dropped my supplies on the couch. I pulled my hair into a strict bun and stared, sorting everything. I jumped and squealed as I felt long, slender, bony hands wrap around my sizable waist. I spun around to see that it was Jack's hands. But only for a moment. Then, he pressed his bony skeleton lips to mine. I had my eyes wide open with shock. After all, I was just a regular human girl, and he was a skeleton who was king of Halloween Town. I knew he would want entrance, but I wasn't even kissing back. "Jack!" I said, shocked. "What? I know you've wanted this." His skeleton voice sounded so seductive, and I thought about it. I won't lie. But before I could think any further, Jack Skellington kissed me again. I kissed back with passion this time, heating his bone-cold lips. He tasted of cherry and dust, and so I wanted to give him my taste. I felt his bone tongue glide across my bottom lip. Yes, skeletons have tongues too. He was asking for entrance, but it wasn't easy. I denied the skeleton, and he knew I was playing hard to get. He picked me up with his bony fingers and ran upstairs into his room. He threw me onto his Halloween bed. Not too rough though, but just rough enough. He pounced on me and went straight for my fleshy neck. Finding my sweet spot almost instantly, I moaned, "Oh, Jack!" He quickly ripped off my shirt, exposing my voluptuous titties, moving down my neck. His teeth focused onto my breasts. After doing with it what he did to my shirt, he began to suck fiercely on my nipple, making both of us hard. He fondled with the other, turning me on into a messes of moans and squeaks. Of course, Jack Skellington, someone who lived so long that all he was a pile of bones. Of course, someone with that much experience knew how to pleasure a girl. I wanted to do something for him. I grabbed his chin, his bone chin, and lifted his head. He growled as I turned him onto his back till he was under me. I pulled at the bottom of his shirt, and he let me take it out of him. I saw his bulge through his pants and boxers. I never knew that skeletons could have a dick. But God, if he looked big now. I kissed him and started working my way down to the bone bulge. Down his chest, down what was left of his stomach, and got to his pants. I gently tugged them down his legs, discarding them to his side. I rubbed him through his boxers, and he groaned my name. A deep groan that made me want to work for him, realizing I had the power here. I pulled his boxers down and discarded those too. His cock was huge. I'll admit, though, it was just a very large bone. Never till now did I know that human boys had a penis bone. I quickly started working at him, though. I placed the head of his bone in my mouth, and when it didn't fit, my hands had to help. Luckily, I didn't have a gag reflex, so went as far and fast as I could. After receiving multiple groans and grumps from him, I knew that he was going to come up shortly. I didn't know how you could come out of a bone, but just imagine it. I took my hands off, placing them on my hips, and realized him from his mouth, making a popping noise. He looked at me and smirked. "You have been a very bad girl, Julia. Punishment is rewarded to girls like you." He finished and flipped me under him, so the human skeleton was above me. Next thing I knew, I was out of my pants and thong, sitting bare in front of him. He wasted no time. I felt a finger push into me while a tongue worked on my clit. I screamed his name in pure pleasure. He pushed another finger in, stretching my walls as I moaned and screamed his name. At last I had enough. He was working his bony fingers so expertly around my vagina. Fuck me, Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween, I said through moans. "Sorry, I didn't hear you, Julia." "Fuck me with your bones," Julia screamed loud. He smiled and pulled his fingers out of my pussy, licking up my liquids. He positioned himself outside my entrance and shoved his bone entirely into my pussy. This wasn't my first time that I fucked a skeleton before, and he knew that. Instantly thrusting into me, I moaned his name, Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween Town, as loud as he thrusted. He was amazing. I never knew a skeleton could be this good at pleasuring human females. After several minutes of moaning and screaming and every other noise ever made, we both climaxed. I squirted all over his bones, and he was screaming my name, while his cum was bone dry. After all, he was a skeleton. He fell beside me, and we both fell asleep, able to sleep the night, knowing that we were both satisfied sexually. The end.